Steal this chair back.
Yes. You had us all
Did
going.
you guys see that? Because I.
And that was very smoothly done, Felicia, very smoothly done.
I don't know, she was trying to be smooth, she's trying not to.
I think she did a good job. It was a good, it was a
My
good
job is
team.
just.
I think so. That's my belief. And she did it very smoothly.
You're right, you're right.
I didn't pull on my
I guess I'll start this up. What?
Yes.
First agenda item, hold hands and kumbaya. Hold hands and kumbaya.
All right, we do have a meeting, so if everybody can sit down and.
I'm really here, so smart about it.
Okay, so we did interview 3 candidates for the WEC and one candidate for planning board. Before we get to the public hearing, which is a couple minutes away, I'm just going to offer a couple of quick resolutions. Be resolved to appoint Ray Langford to the Woodstock Environmental Commission, term to expire 12/31/24.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint Corey Smith to the Woodstock Environmental Commission, term to expire 12/20/31/23.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint Michael Colbert to the Woodstock Environmental Commission, term to expire 12/31/23.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Jeannie, Reggie was not here for the interview, so he'd like to talk to you, and we'll vote on that appointment next week. So if you guys could connect sometime during the week, that would be great. Got a couple of minutes. Be it resolved to authorize payment of audited vouchers in the amount of $434,786.15.
Second, for the purpose of discussion.
Janet?
I spoke with Lori Mifflin-Demasi, and I also consulted the state comptroller's office. And it seems that Article 8 of Town Law, Sections 118 and 119 address the payment of claims and provide for the audit and approval of those claims in towns without a controller. That is the town board. Once those are approved, the supervisor's office pays those claims and vouchers. There are a list of claims that can be paid with the board not approving them. And the vouchers that were presented at the July 18th meeting should never have been presented. They were not properly reviewed.
You should have come in and done it.
I would ask you next time, Supervisor McKenna, to get the proper approval before putting something on the agenda that should not have been there.
I talked with Reggie and Lauren. They were comfortable with me paying them. The bills needed to be paid. You have been on the board for, you don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. You've been on the board for over a year and a half. You know the process. You know about coming in to review the vouchers. You've failed for the last 4 months to do so.
That is absolutely incorrect.
It is not
Well, they failed
incorrect.
three of the.
That is not, that is not correct.
April, June, and
All in
July.
favor?
No, I am still
We're
speaking.
done with this. All in favor?
No, point of order.
There's no point of order.
As a matter of fact, there is a point of order.
All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
The bills have already been paid. They have
Okay.
already been paid. They were paid on
Be it
July
resolved to
19th.
accept the resignation of
You're
April
hiding the
Ramos
fact
from
that these
the
bills have
Highway
been paid.
Department
This is a
effective August
charade.
1st, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was an aye?
Yeah, of course it was an aye.
I didn't hear.
Bill, it's a charade what you're doing. The bills have been paid. You're misleading people about the bills not
Did you
being
vote
paid.
to They have been paid, yes.
Yes, you paid the bills. The bills were paid on July 19th. Why
Then
are you
then
paying?
you did not do your job.
You didn't do
You
your
did
job.
not
You did not do your job, Laura.
She was on vacation
You didn't do
Laura,
your
you
job.
didn't do
in
your
April.
job.
You didn't do your job. in
He
April.
failed to do
And you
his
didn't do
job
your
and you
job
did
in
not do
July.
your job.
You
Let him
were,
go, let him go.
well, he
Here
Ben was
is
in
all
town.
Failed to do your
There
job.
are, so you felt that you were in town and you failed to do your job.
Did
You
the
were in
supervisor
town.
contact
you
you?
failed.
Laura, did the supervisor contact you?
Be it
about this?
resolved to promote Brandon Albertson to the grade 3.5 at an hourly rate of $25.94, effective August 7th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to, upon receipt of completed family medical leave act form, to approve paid unpaid leave for the absence of Cody Chase, effective July 20, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jackie, are you on? She might be muted.
She is on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, do you have
Okay.
a legal notice for us?
At a meeting held by the town board to set a public hearing on the scenic overlay amendments for August 8th, 2023. Public hearing is now open and all public is open for their opinion.
Okay, so this is a public hearing on local law to amend regulations to the scenic overlay. Michael, please step forward and address the board.
I'm here on behalf of the Woodstock Tree Committee. We have reviewed the proposed changes to the scenic overlay regulations, and we have the following comments and suggestions.
Thank you.
Oops, that's got a little something on it. What's that? Extra ink. Extra ink.
Yay.
My printer is going south. I would like to start by saying to the board, thank you for undertaking the updating and upgrading of the town's scenic overlay rules and regulations. Preserving our view sheds is critical to maintaining the character and beauty that is Woodstock. Our special thanks to the Zoning Revision Committee for their efforts. The following points. Number one, the Tree Committee offers to assist in the creating of a document to be shared with realtors and real estate attorneys describing the scenic overlay law as well as the town tree law. Number two, the Tree Committee requests Planning Board designate a liaison to keep us informed of tree-related matters that arise that may involve Woodstock Tree Committee input. Be advised, the Woodstock Tree Committee is an advisory committee and cannot enforce town law. Woodstock Tree Committee is happy to advise on a case-by-case basis when needed or requested, as has always been the role of the Woodstock Tree Committee. Number three, Woodstock Tree Committee recommends money be budgeted to enable drone mapping of the entire scenic overlay district to create a baseline for future scenic overlay issues that come before the planning board. And I'm happy to explain that when I'm finished if you have any questions. Number four, Woodstock Tree Committee recommends additional funding for enforcement by the building department. This may include hiring additional personnel with forestry and arborist expertise. Number five, Woodstock Tree Committee recommends any building permits issued in the scenic overlay include a bond to cover tree protections during construction. All permit applications should be screened using the drone mapping baseline for any potential clearing prior to application. The Woodstock Tree Committee suggests penalties for scenic overlay violations that are equal to the penalties for regulated tree violations listed currently in town code. These are $1,000 per violation and or 1 year in jail. Thank you again for your efforts to protect our views, trees, and heritage. The Woodstock Tree Committee stands ready to assist in these efforts as always and as needed.
Thank you, Michael.
Signed, Michael Beach, Chair, Woodstock Tree Committee. I'll take any questions.
Well, we're just here to listen to the public first, but we'll get back to you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks
You're
for,
very welcome.
thanks for having me up here
My pleasure.
for our comments.
Can I say one thing?
Let's just
Certainly.
listen to the public first, because that's the process. Anyone else in the public? No, no comments about scenic overlay law? Okay, so Laura,
Okay, so I did want to say, so for number 3, I know what the law does say is that part of the process is somebody in the scenic overlay will be required to do a drone photo before and after. I think we still want to consider your idea, but the current thought is that they will do a drone photo of their property before, so there is a matchup, and that will be paid for
I
by the
didn't see
applicant.
that in the document. I
Okay.
didn't see that in the proposed changes. Maybe you could send me where that's,
Okay,
where
well,
that's highlighted.
if you hold on, I'll look, I have the copy here and I'll look for it, so if you hold on afterwards. I personally like your idea about the bond to cover tree protections. And so as I read through what you have in terms of what would actually change in the proposed law, I'll talk to the committee, or this is with the board now about that, but that's a very nice idea, I think. And then the penalties, I know we're going to talk more on the board about adjusting the penalties that are in there, so I appreciate your input.
My concern, Laura, and why I think a baseline needs to be created, is that a property owner could strip the trees before the property changes hands. And then the buyer, unaware, comes to the planning board or the building department, and you've got a situation. And I just think if there's a baseline where we can start 2023, this is what it looks like. That would mean that any property owner currently is going to be held liable if they cut the trees down. They can sell the land, but they're still going to be liable if they clear cut. And we all know a clear cut, panoramic view is worth a lot more than a piece of land with a bunch of trees. We all know that.
thank you,
But
Michael.
thank you very much.
Jeannie?
Yeah, in speaking to that, I bought a piece of property, and before I bought the property, it was wooded. And by the time I closed on the property, it wasn't.
Yeah, locked it up.
Apparently, the trees were sold for their wood.
Oh, wow.
So I absolutely agree with that.
The one thing I would say, though, is that I'm not sure that it would necessarily be part of the zoning law to put that in,
Right.
but that it might be a town policy. that would
Well,
be done.
exactly. So the things that you recommended, a lot of them are excellent recommendations, but would it or would it not change the actual proposed law? Because that would be something that would just be decided by the board, not a law thing, but would be a procedural thing. So,
Mhm.
we'll,
Budgeting money for the drone mapping.
But at this
Yes.
point, we're talking about the local law, so that would be something beyond this.
So the
Yeah,
local-
I'm just, we're heading into budget season.
Okay,
This is a good time to have that in front of you.
Michael. we're
Local,
talking
the
about
local law
local
does say that the planning board may require the applicant to supply
Correct.
and may be used by the planning board drone photos. I think it's clearly, may is just not strong enough, and it needs to be shall require. And I think that rather than asking the applicant to do it, I don't understand why the town of Woodstock wouldn't want to have that resource itself, just like the town of Woodstock has its own maps. I would think they would want their own drone footage that they could update as they see fit as well. So I wouldn't want to
Maybe you
make it.
could get us a quote on what that would cost to get done, and we can consider it at budget time.
yeah, okay. And Michael, that was in CA1H of the law, what Bennett just read,
Yeah,
that I can show you afterwards.
yeah, well, as he said, it's may, it's not required.
It's not required.
So that's one
That was
possibility.
the issue.
Laura, you also mentioned the issue of fines, and one of the things we're still working out is that we may have to amend the law where it talks about the ZEO issuing fines of up to $5,000 a day. There's a thought that it's not, that would have to come from the courts and not the ZEO. So that's something we still have to tweak.
I am also concerned that there seem to be just a series of unfunded mandates in here telling the property owner to do something or requesting that the zoning enforcement officer do something. I think that we need to provide money for the zoning enforcement office to do these things, or we need to do them ourselves as the town of Woodstock, rather than telling somebody who's purchasing a piece of property that they need to do.
Thank you. Now, is there anybody online that wishes to speak?
I
Okay,
have a procedural question for you.
yes.
The procedural question is, would you like me to take Michael's input back to the ZRC? This law is officially with the town board, no longer with the ZRC, it's been passed to the town board. Do we just want to talk amongst ourselves about these, or would you like to have ZRC input?
So Ben, it sounds like you have a couple of comments. Does the board want to, over the next couple of days, take this local law and make some recommendations to go back to the ZRC?
Or do we just want to make the changes here because it's been passed, the process is it's at the ZRC and then it comes here and is officially here.
This is certainly their work, and I would certainly want their input on the work based on us.
So I am going to recess the public hearing to the call of the chair. And we'll send this back to the ZRC
And we're meeting
to
Monday.
address. Perfect, perfect.
And speaking of meeting Monday, I didn't know whether, Marilena, the one thing I know we said at our last meeting was you were working on the STRs and you thought in a couple of weeks
Yeah,
that you
that's,
had.
that's getting submitted this week, so everybody will have everything this week.
Excellent, because then the ZRC can look at that Monday too.
Sure.
And perfect, thank you.
All right, publicly heard. Is there anyone here in the audience that has some publicly heard? Silent?
Is there some conversation about this mega golf course complex that's,
At this point, it's not even an application. It's before the planning board for an informal review. So not yet, but we're all waiting with bated breath.
well, would you care to hear my comments? on
Come right up and we'll give you 2 minutes and tell us your thoughts on it.
My thoughts are, I don't hear people screaming and crying because this community doesn't have an 18-hole golf course. Golf courses are notoriously known for horrible environmental practices. They use pesticides, insecticides, weed killers, all of them cause cancer, all of them pollute the water table. So here's my idea. Ditch your golf course and ditch your luxury homes for your private golf course members. If that particular part of land is available for some development, then let's environmentally consciously try to see if there's a way to put some affordable housing there, because there are people of low and moderate income, me in particular, who cannot find a place to live in this town or the surrounding community.
Sounds like a good plan to me, Michael.
A message from my wife, Kathy, who's just too tired and worn out to make it. She wanted to relay. She was so pleased to serve as a volunteer for 15 years as an EMT on the Woodstock Rescue Squad, served as president for 2 terms. She was happy to give. She's upset that nowhere in this community is there a place that will give back to her, to us, so we could remain active participants in it.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else here? Step right up and you're third. No, you're, okay, I'll let you guys talk.
They both had hands up. It was simultaneous, I think.
Hi, my name is Rachel Marco Havens. I'm here on behalf of my small business. We, like Mike and Kathy, are I was born and raised here in this town. We've been in a situation for the last several in particular years where the variances and the allowances for different businesses in town have sort of widened, and at the same time, it's become harder and harder for local community members to have a business in this town. My father opened the Woodstock Festival. My partner's father produced it. We are the poster children for Woodstock. Currently, we have a thriving seemingly thriving Main Street. We have a Chamber of Commerce that apparently supposedly does something for the businesses in town. Not sure what it is. We have reached out several times to the Chamber of Commerce and also to Bill. Bill responded, no one in the Chamber of Commerce has. We would like to rent the yellow building in town as the keepers of the groove, as the Woodstock lineage holders, and we would be actually the only people in this town with a direct connection to the town, to the festival, to have a business in this town. We'd like to rent it for a nominal fee. Our logos on the building are ready. The building's been empty and abandoned for several years. It's currently a homeless shelter. The porch is a homeless shelter. Basically, that's where people sit when they want to get out of the rain. They've spent the night there. We've been ignored by the Chamber of Commerce. Since then, I've looked on the website. They don't link to any business that they serve. You can't even click a link and go to the website of the business that they serve. I don't know what's happening with that building. I know they September, we want to rent it. We don't want to put up a tent on the front yard. We want to pay money, and then maybe the Chamber of Commerce can redo the map. And we will be the first, hopefully the second, third, partially at least, person of color running a business in this town, which isn't a thing here, except for one business, two, Pachamama and Bianca Boom's Framing Gallery. So we've reached out to Chamber of Commerce and have heard nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
I will try again, and why don't you give me a call tomorrow?
Okay, and the other
Because
thing.
they seem interested.
Cool, because we're willing to, if they don't want to rent the building, maybe they can move the building and we'll put one there and rent it from the town.
They seemed excited to have somebody in there.
So we're not sure why they haven't called us or written to us or said anything. And so I just wanted to make a public announcement that we've asked for it. And to let everybody know also that we work with, strangely, most of these are people that are long-term people in this community who don't have access to Main Street either, and would like to, in that tiny space, make that possible for others as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, I'm Michael Mulvey, longtime resident of the town, an artist, musician, and academic, retired operating engineer, union organizer. I want to speak to the noise ordinance and what we're discussing about it. And my preference personally would be that however this thing is worded, that it has to do with decibel levels at the end of the property. Any other discrimination against one type of worker or one industry would be unfair and contrary to the 2018 comprehensive plan. The other thing is hyperbole also, and that is that it seems to me that this trial period is probably one of the worst seasons financially for everybody who has a business in the hamlet. And it's not surprising to me that people don't want to spend $2,000 a weekend and $200 a night for dinner to come to some place where the sidewalks are open at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. It's never been the history. If past practice counts for anything, there's always been indoor live music till 1 a.m. And now, places like the Croix Moon are getting police visits from complainers at 11:30, telling them to shut down music inside when the doors are closed. You can't hear the music across the street, but what you can hear is music from, other venues and, the general noise on the street. So I'm really hopeful that this committee comes back and that the board sees the wisdom in nailing this thing down, not classifying music as some type of noise that is more egregious than the saws at the lumberyard, the trucks that come through and pick up the garbage at 4 o'clock in the morning, or anything else that's allowed in the hamlet. And that's my piece.
Thank you, Michael.
Anyone else online, Melanie?
All right, I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.